Once again, blown away. So many answers. Left us with maybe a few more questions. Of course, tons of questions. It's the Westworld recap for the Well-Tempered Clavier. I'm JC, and we're about to start this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Buzzes in.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Here we go. As the lovely Joelle Monique said on the chat roll, welcome to the Westworld After Show here on AFTERBUZZ TV. I am JC Rubio. Make sure to follow me over on JC Rubio TV on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and even Friendster. Shoot. Across the table, who do we have tonight?
Hey guys, my name's Kari Lane. You can find me online at Kari D Lane, and we are live in the chat. And I love that you guys are all talking. Feel free to chime in at us. And if you're not watching this live, comment down below.
Yeah, and I'm Mr. Dave Child. You can find me at Mr. Dave Child on Twitter and all over the place. And oh boy, was this episode a lot to talk about.
You know, just a little bit.
And of course, our bicameral mind in the booth. Neil, what is up, buddy?
How's it going, guys? Really excited to get started with this episode. Man, that was crazy.
Incredible. And of course, a shout out. She couldn't join us tonight. Make sure to give a shout out on the chat roll who's joining us. Joelle Monique, what's up, girl? And hope to see you next week. So, where do we begin? I mean, okay, can I just quickly say,
Yes.
for the most part, thank God for the Reddit world and the hive mentality. I think we had a lot of clues of what was going to happen, just not how it would be happen.
Right.
How it would happen.
Sure.
Kari disagrees.
Yes. No, there's things that's happened that we have discussed, and I mean, we've thrown out so many theories along the way, and then fans in the chat have chimed in and given us ideas, and like we've read your guys' comments from the live and later on YouTube, which has given ideas, and people have reached out to us on Twitter. So some of these ideas we did have, but maybe we weren't locked in on it. But we did talk about it, just saying.
I mean, there's
there's so much, so it's like, stuff.
It's kind of hard to know because when you're especially hosting a show where you're talking about Westworld so much, and we get all these great tweets about theories. It's kind of hard to know, like, what is my theory or what was just what was
were
just
you
put
inspired
in me?
by? Yeah.
What was the voice in my head that's had the theory? But I felt like gratified by this, and I realized that actually when I talked to someone who's not like a giant Westworld fan like I am. Not that they're not watching the show, they're liking the show, they're watching it.
Yeah.
But it's the type of people that they're like, I'm like, oh man, don't you love Westworld? And they're like, yeah. It's a little confusing. Wish I knew what the rules were about it. And then I was like, okay, all right. I was like, hey, what do you think about this whole William Man in Black thing? And they're like, what? And I'm like, that they might be the same person? I didn't even... Oh wow, that could be, it's like, or like maybe some people also think that the Bernard might be Arnold, might be a copy of Arnold, and they're like, what? Oh, that might explain. And it's just all these. So people aren't thinking about this 24/7 like we are.
And I'll agree with you that we said, we knew certain things, but even our bicameral Neil, he was unaware. Yeah. You said it tonight yourself when you saw the episode that you were surprised by what developed tonight, correct, Neil?
That's right. I can't give away too much because I'm in the booth here with people who haven't seen it. Spoiler-free confession. I was dead wrong about the
about the Bernard situation.
No, I was right about that.
Okay.
Help me out. Say something else.
Dolores and Bernard.
About Dolores and what she
murdering?
did to Arnold.
Yeah. No. Well, I mean, I wasn't really wrong about that. I didn't really suspect that.
Okay, I think you're in a bit too much of a hush. Cone of silence
we'll have to.
We won't hurt you, but we won't do that to you because also Danielle Graff on the chat roll saying she's in the AFTERBUZZ maze right now with us. So.
Right.
But let's unpack it together. So let's. Of course, it was directed by Michelle McLaren, who actually, to bring everyone up to speed, she directed tons of episodes of Breaking Bad, and so it was just perfect. I mean, this episode to give us so much what it did and the way it did. So kudos, and once again. Great choice in direction tonight. So let's dive in with Maeve and Bernie.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't call him Bernard. Don't call
Bernie?
him Bernie.
No, he's Bernard.
That's like calling William Bill, and we know he doesn't like that.
Yeah.
So let's just keep people's full names. Let's not circumcise the name. Quite
All right.
I like how Maeve's like Bernard.
Yeah.
Bernard. Yeah.
Very foreign or very
Bernard.
English, proper British.
That was just a great scene to begin with, because we have Maeve. We know from her eyes that she isn't
She's
shut
almost
down.
rolling her eyes like, oh, hurry up.
Yeah, and then we see that moment when she recognizes Bernard as like one of her.
Yes.
As one of them, and
Yes.
before she even mentions it. And I thought that was great that she has that ability now.
Yep.
And I love this scene, especially because of the acting and just seeing what happens when Bernard is confronted with this existential crisis. Even though we've already seen him kind of go through it, we see him go through it again, but in a very human way, in a very like the way he stumbles out of the lab and just has to think about it. And I'm also always wondering, why is no one seeing all this stuff that keeps happening?
We've talked about that.
in these clear
Nobody
glass.
notices.
Well, it's
No.
we saw that no one was there, and I guess they have a limited staff, but it's just all that was there was one naked dude.
You know what? No, Dave, we talked about it last week because we
didn't
said.
say it was.
Oh, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Karen.
No, go ahead.
What we were saying was, well, remember, this is a work environment and so many things happen in a given day. So after a while, you just start letting things, this is
True.
going on, this is going on. So you start turning a blind eye to it in
Tunnel
a
vision?
sense.
Very true.
Slightly.
Sure.
No, but I wanted to bring up the fact that, is Maeve the only person not in a loop?
Well, that's a good question, because
Dolores.
I think we also
Sort
find
of.
out. I think this we'll get to it later, but I think we also discovered in this episode that all of everyone who's with Wyatt is sentient and not in a loop. Knows what's going on, which was a big surprise for me. And I think that's going to be a big revelation that's not going to be thought about a lot in this episode, because we had quite a few revelations. But one of the things that struck me as really remarkable right now is that Angela, who we've met before, who was the one that is kind of part of Wyatt's tribe, is talking to Teddy. And not to jump right ahead to Teddy's.
Yeah,
but,
and just to let everyone know, I mean, we got to jump around a little bit because there's
Yeah.
just
Yes.
so much here. So follow.
and I mean, so does the show too. Because when are they? That's a big question we'll talk about too.
Well.
But with the Teddy situation, Angela really forces him to remember, talking a lot like Arnold himself, and to dive back on the previous lives of him. And sorry, excuse me. And we see that they recognize that they keep coming back, and that they might that they'll come back in a new life, and that they have past lives that they kind of remember. So they know about the game a little bit. So I'm curious to see what that means, if that's part of the maze itself, or is that something that Arnold is just trying to, maybe it's the maze, maybe that is the maze, and maybe that's something that Arnold's just trying to make everyone sentient in the actual park, which I think we see a lot in this episode.
Right. You know, and also I want to bring it back to Maeve and Maeve and Bernard, as you could say. No, but what I was gonna say is, in a sense, it makes me flashback all the way to episode 3 when he starts reading Alice in Wonderland to Dolores.
Yeah.
And in essence, to me, so is Bernard Alice himself as well. He's going down his own rabbit hole tonight.
Sure.
Well, I think Bernard, well, are you talking about episode 3 when he's reading it? So you're actually probably talking about Arnold, reading it to
That's
it.
actually Arnold reading
Yeah,
it.
that's right.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's something we're gonna have to keep in mind.
There was the thing too of Bernard. It was talked about, and I think this was brought up in the chat, was how if another host will get, like, somebody will get Bernard derailed, like we'll talk to him about it. I think we had thought it would be Stubbs who was gonna maybe throw him off the rails, but it turns out it's more Maeve that's like, hey, don't you know what you are?
So they were telling us that, and even in the last episode.
Yeah,
in a sense,
that someone brought
would.
it up that like maybe it'll be somebody who's gonna be like, hey, like say something to make Bernard question reality or something like that. So then it was cool to have Maeve be the one to be like, no, really, we've done this before, and don't you know what's going on? And then helped him understand what was going on. And I even like when she froze him and she's like, yeah, you can hear me in there. And you're like, oh, that's just kind of like creepy.
Right. And it's nice to have it be one of them kind of freeing the other one. Because that's something that we saw previously in the season where we kind of got the sense that Dolores freed Maeve and Dolores herself was maybe freed by the father or possibly something else.
Yep.
You brought up something actually interesting because we thought that Dolores or early on that she was going to be the one that was going to free people, and it seems like it's Maeve in a sense now, like you said with Bernard. So
well, Maeve's kind of jumped the gun of like super powered in comparison to Dolores.
Well, I think there's
Maeve's caring more about everyone and herself. Dolores isn't really for all the other hosts,
and it makes me question Maeve's true motives.
Yeah,
it really makes me question: does she? Because she's mentioned a few times throughout the series that she's a survivor.
Yes.
And I know she wants to build an army. Is it to build an army to free everyone, or is it to get herself out of the park?
Both.
Right. Well, I don't know about that. I think if one thing we learned from this episode, if we're going to look at Maeve and Dolores, Maeve's sole point is to not be a puppet and not be used, and also to leave the park, because by leaving the park, she'll no longer be a puppet because she'll be out of the theater.
Okay.
But Dolores actually said to William and Logan, she when they were kind of talking about her like she wasn't there, because they're used to not having the hosts understand what they're saying. Dolores said that what would make you think I would want to leave? So Dolores is more on a spiritual quest, while Maeve is kind of on a heroic or soldier quest to kind of free herself.
Dolores brings up a good point of like, what is it that's so bad out there that you're all trying to get in here?
Yeah.
So she doesn't dislike being in there. She just wants to be free within the space she knows.
Yeah, she wants her own personal freedom.
Yeah.
Of the kind of mind and spiritual, I think. In a way.
Very well said. Now we also know that I guess Maeve puts him to task to uncover his truth, to uncover the truth, and that's where we see Bernard break into Ford's office and have a meeting with Ford down in cold storage with Clementine.
Yes.
Happy to see her back, but a lobotomized Clementine, I guess. So.
I'm still waiting for something to happen with all those hosts in cold storage.
Oh, it's coming up.
Yes, it is.
I've thought that since the first episode, because I was like, oh, this is just too weirdly convenient. They're there. Their storage is not well kept because they've already talked about the AC not working right.
But did you see the next week on?
Yes, we did.
Of this one?
A little bit.
It's happening.
Yeah.
I called that one since episode 1.
Okay.
I didn't know what's going to
It's not about calling. You're so obsessed with
calling.
I was so
excited with that one thing, though, because you're like, this is a one thing
I hope that wasn't a spoiler.
No, I think it's fine.
No,
if it's on the next week
okay, fine. There's like so many things. Fine, you can be a little excited when there's something that you're like, I thought that was a thing, and then it turned out to be, because this show kind of throws you on so many loops.
Yeah, I know.
And that was such a random thing that I was like, that could be something. And then it is. So
I'm just excited when they're like, when they hit a story point, it's like, great, that's revealed now. Now we're going to move on to something else.
This definitely had traction and move forward.
And with...
a lot of things were answered.
Speaking of which, we find out with Bernard that when he uses... I knew this was happening. I knew we were going to finally find out about Bernard, and I was wanting Bernard to come for so long. #Bernard. Actually, don't, because that's a huge spoiler.
Oh, that'd be super spoiler.
Don't send that out. But I really wanted that to happen, and there's two scenes that I disliked in this whole episode that made it seem like they were just holding off for more answers. And one of them I felt bad was when he was talking to his dead son. I just felt like they were having this dramatic moment, and
you're like, I don't care, hurry up.
I was just like, I don't care. We all know you're made up. Yeah. We all know. I'm so angry. I'm dropping things. We all know that he's a fictional character. It wasn't a very effective 2001 or Contact moment, which is what I felt they were going for.
Okay.
Having this kind of existential sci-fi moment, and I was like, okay, all right, we understand that. Just get to where he meets Arnold. Just keep going until he meets Arnold, because I really wanted to see that.
I was thinking something would have happened with the son, actually. Like the son was going to be not necessarily Arnold, but a representation of him.
Right.
And speak to him, like, listen, and, like, that was going to lead into something else.
That was going to be something
which
else, yeah.
It wasn't, and that's fine, but that was a moment where I'm like, maybe.
I'm also glad that they brought the photo back, because that photo...
Yes. And sorry,
was a
you
huge
said who
part.
the guy in the middle was? Who was the one in the middle again?
That is
His
Ford's father.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Ford's father,
So
or it could be...
Ford's father and Arnold were the ones who were in the original...
Well, it could
Stasis?
also be the host that they built.
Ah, yes.
I think the third guy's just a big red herring. I think the guy in the middle is just
Oh,
a big
no,
red
that
herring.
one I didn't have any theories with. I just
Yeah.
was curious of, like, I don't recognize that from the small little photo we're looking at.
Right, but he's
But
the
yeah.
same. That's why when Bernard sees Ford's father in the
Yes.
cabin in that one episode, he says Arnold, and that's because
Yeah.
he thinks he sees only two people in that photo
Yeah.
because he doesn't recognize
Yes.
Arnold because that's
Yes.
he's not
Detrimental to
programmed
him,
see it.
Yeah.
You know, and quoting his superfan Metal Monkey Cold Storagey aside, let's move on because we got so much
Yeah.
to talk about. We still got to talk about William, Logan, and the whole meeting with the
Right.
Confederados. And this was a great moment. I kept on looking at Kari's at your face here because were you satisfied when this was going on with Logan and William? The fact that you were calling, I could tell by your reaction that you wanted William to take out
I
Logan
wanted William
so
to
bad.
kill Logan so bad. I was waiting for it. I'm like, maybe. But then he had nothing in his hands. He just had the bottle of alcohol. I'm like, because Logan drops the knife near William and you don't see where, and that felt weird. Like you heard the
Right.
sound of it fall to the ground. So I'm like, oh, what if William picked it up, sliced his throat, stabbed him right then and there? Because that would have been
Jeez.
like, whoa. But no, that didn't happen.
She's
Cool.
vicious. I was watching it, and I could see you
I was like, come on,
gesticulating.
right
You were like-
now.
I wanted
No.
it to be Dolores. I wanted it to be Dolores.
Well, she got
and
a
for that
slice
to be the
in,
break.
at least.
Yeah, she got a slice in, but
But the question is,
I really wanted Logan dead.
can
and I
she?
wanted it. Yeah, that's
Because she was able to shoot other hosts, so that breaks one of the first rule. Well, no, they can shoot other hosts. Never mind. Sorry, they can totally kill other hosts, but she was able to injure him,
right.
not lethally. So maybe that's part of in their parameters. But we also talked about Men in Black getting his head smashed on the rock a little bit.
Yeah, concussion.
I was like,
Okay,
well,
okay.
that could kill him.
Let's
saying.
explain that. That's back to the Angela
Yes.
Men in Black Teddy scene.
Just a moment of a host hurting a human. Of like, whoa, you could have killed him with
Right.
that.
Well, I think
He's
this
not
is
like super young.
Wait,
but
hold on. This is what the list. I think this is the rules of what they've kind of
Yes.
established in that world. Is you're
the farther
safe
you
in
go
your
out,
center, and
yeah.
the farther you get out, it goes more dangerous. Now,
Yes.
what does more dangerous mean? Apparently, more dangerous means you can get knocked in the head, knocked out. I don't know why concussion isn't considered like a huge danger,
Yes.
but I think in this world that's okay.
Yeah.
What isn't okay is drawing any sort of blood. I think every time some sort of blood is drawn, it's going past the point.
What about when Men in Black is set to be hanged with the horse? That's not
Yeah.
direct contact, but that sets him up to die.
That's not direct, but it's also dependent on a horse, and the horse is also mechanical. So if he isn't able to get out of it, theoretically, the horse could just stop and he'll be okay.
Well, explain.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying. I mean, if you're gonna,
I like that, but
yeah, if you're gonna play the game,
he
it's
seemed
going
like
to
he was ready to. He wasn't stopping anytime soon when that horse started to spook.
right because I think he wants to play like he can actually win, but
No, I
it's
know.
and that was a very iffy
Yes.
moment because he's also dealing with Wyatt's men who seem to be on a different frequency than all the
Yes.
other hosts.
And I know we just went on a tangent from William and Logan, what happened there in the reveal, but
Right.
we're going into Men in Black and Teddy, but we found out some great information that next day when he was tied to the horse,
Right.
where we see the appearance of Charlotte Hale, and we find out that he is
Yes.
one of the board members, and
I love
Charlotte
that.
wanted him to vote out
In her
Ford.
heels.
But he really didn't care, and he doesn't even
Nope.
care about his Ford's narrative, so...
Yeah, because the only narrative he cares about is Arnold's
Arnold's.
narrative.
Yep.
And what it will lead to towards the end, which is interesting to see them connect. And now we know who's broadcasting or who's trying to broadcast.
Yeah.
And that it's Men in Black and also Charlotte. But it also means that they're not on the same page about the maze.
Oh,
That
no.
they don't care. The rest of the board doesn't care about the maze.
No. Yeah.
Because I think they think it's just another interesting narrative and an Easter egg in the game. But I really think Man in Black thinks and believes that it's something deeper and that it's either something spiritual or something that could actually lead control of the game.
Doesn't this contradict what Charlotte was saying a few episodes previous? That because she told Men in Black tonight that the reason that we want this park is for people for fucking and fighting.
Right.
Okay, but if
I didn't think that's why she said we want it. She said that's why people
Most
want
people
it.
want it, yes.
okay,
She said people want it for that.
okay, thank you.
Not our motivation is
Yeah.
them, whoever they are.
I still want to know their ultimate motivation, the board.
Yeah, I get
Yeah.
the sense that they want it for the intellectual property or the
Right.
technology
Yes.
that is found in the park.
Yes.
Which we've talked about. What I'm talking about is what do they want to do with it? That's
Right.
my biggest question.
I feel that's something that
Sorry,
either
guys.
they will or won't answer in the end, though, because it is a big deal, but it's not within our central world of what we're focusing.
It's
on.
also not as interesting to me
yeah,
because
it's not necessarily.
I kind of just
Ooh,
assume
if
it's
they
like
do a season
it's
2,
Skynet
that'd be
stuff.
maybe something in season 2.
It's like a season 2 or 3.
Yeah, that's a little
what-
bit later because that's like a bigger.
Yeah, but I hope it doesn't go that big. To be honest, like
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't end up being. I hope the show doesn't end up being like people. Basically, Blade Runner trying to catch all the hosts that
Sure.
are
Okay.
running loose.
Yeah.
Because I think, which it could end up being, it could be fun. I could be wrong about that, but I like how contained it is right now, and I'm curious to see how it's going to grow.
Yeah.
But I also assume I'm not interested in that because I just assume it's going to be like military or just whatever. It's just what corporations want that stuff for, and it's military.
Yeah,
Sure.
We don't know. We'll find out in the time frame of the future.
Right.
Speaking of time frames, let us bring it back to the William Logan.
I was gonna say, would you like to clarify now? How are you gonna say time frames instead of timelines?
Yes,
we were
because
talking about that before the show.
Why?
People have been.
He
saying,
said it. We were talking about it. Oh, you missed
Okay.
that. Okay, sorry. We were talking about it.
Okay,
Go ahead.
for most of the season, everyone's fallen in love with the term timelines. And to me, when you think of timelines, it seems like you're going into different areas of time, not in the same story. All this is still the same story. It's all one story, but we're just jumping into different time frames of the story.
See, I like timelines because I think we're looking at different stories within, yes, a larger story. But I like focusing on the different stories and from point A to point B of those different characters.
So would you say there's parallel storylines?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
as
I'm
there
good
is
with
in
that, too.
every story. I mean, there's an A, B, and C. But in this sense, when we talk about the William timeline, even if that turns out to be the Man in Black timeline, it could all still be the same. You know, it
Yeah.
feels like timeline's better.
Well, you're going timeline per whatever characters on whatever journey they're on, which is
Right.
an easier way to clarify it because there's certain characters that have done, like, we'll talk later when we get to Dolores, of like, she has multiple things going on.
Right.
Well, not to spend too much time on it. It's just
Yeah.
a small point to bring us
Sure.
to what you were talking about with you. You were going to say something, Chow.
Yes, about the William timeline. I'm going to say timeline.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in this episode it's another nod that they're in another time zone maybe
Okay.
or time space
How so?
as the rest of the cast.
Okay.
Because first we see the insides of Dolores and
Yes.
she's Gears, but we have established that she's one of the oldest
Yes.
hosts of the park. So she's someone that could still theoretically in the present still have gears inside her body. She
Yes.
could still be just an old host.
Okay.
But after Logan wakes up from partying too much and discovers that William has gone full carnage
Yes.
and just destroyed and killed everyone,
Yes.
all of the bits, most of the legs and arms that are around all have bones that have like metal and gears, and they're all sparking, and it looks real old school.
Okay.
Like it looks nothing like I think what the robots of the hosts of the current present Man in Black time is, because I think those are all just manufactured bones.
Okay,
Like
so just
3D
seeing
built bones.
the gears makes you think that's a different.
Yes,
Okay.
seeing that many gears. If it was only on Dolores, I would
That's
be
true.
maybe. But seeing
Okay.
all those other parts make me
Because
think.
we see that a few episodes back
Sure.
when Four presents
Good
the
point.
younger version of him.
Yes.
And we see the gears when he
Yes.
has him open his face.
Yeah.
So, but I think.
Now,
Yes.
real quick question: since Dolores is of that mold, can she be stabbed and gutted the way she was and not die right away?
That's a good question to ask the chat roll.
Because it's like other characters have been shot or stabbed and they died sort of right away. But she was fine for a while, that if she was a human being, how much it was gutted, she would be dead by the time she was like kneeling on the ground. So the fact that she was able to start running away,
Right.
I was wondering if her like kill process is a little different.
Now, I have a theory kind of about that. And this is going to get very confusing when we get into Dolores. And I don't think I'm 100% on exactly where we're going. Because I think a part of what happened there, and I think technically, I think a host could survive longer than they think they can if they have a memory that helps them maintain of a healthier time. Because according to hosts, like, they don't go into memories like they reminisce.
Right.
When they have a memory, they think they're actually there. Which means if they have a memory and they go back in time to when they're healthier, they can keep walking. And
so it's kind of like a Neo and Matrix, and you ignored the reality of what's going on.
Right, it's a mind over matter type thing. So, but that I don't think she went into the past during that time, so it's a little confusing.
You know, without jumping, I know we're everywhere, but to back up what you said, it happened last week when Man in Black was talking about when he killed Maeve and her daughter, her previous build, because that's when he saw her alive. When he had stabbed her and she came out and she was still fighting for those last moments with her daughter. So,
the fight
within
is a sign of sentience to go past what the programming is, which is you should fall down and die now.
Yeah.
That's a good sign of it.
So now that leaves us, I think we've covered, we didn't talk about the knife. The knife that we see William.
Very true. You noticed this. I didn't actually notice this. For some reason it passed me by.
The knife looks it's quite similar to Man in Black's knife.
So it's the knife that William is holding after he kind of went crazy carnage on everyone. And
the one that Logan had, though, that he put down and he picked up?
Yeah, the next morning.
It should have been his, because he had everything taken from him.
So does this mean, finally, are we going to get... Next week, I am Man in Black.
I think next week we're going to find out Man in Black's going to say his name's William, but we could...
Even that's
could be
not something, you know.
Oh, if he says his name is William, I'm
fine.
like,
You're like, done deal.
We're done. We're
so
done.
So wait, you don't want a scene where they see each other and they're like, nope, theory's disproved right there.
Oh, I would love that. I would love that either way.
Yeah.
I just want it to be done.
Yes.
I'm kind of sick of talking about the William Man in Black theory.
It's a good question to ask the rest of the fans. Do you guys just want the reveal? Is he the Man in Black or not? Do you just want to reveal? That's a good question to ask because there's so much to this show that I think we're so transfixed on this that it's time to move on.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's so much richness in this.
Well, there have been other things that we finally found out, like, you know, last week, or when Bernard discovers he's not human, like, those are moments that we were like, yes, we've gained traction of things we've wanted to know about for so long, and this episode had some things, but there's still stuff that we're just like, okay, can we just get confirmation, please? Because a confirmation thing, and really quick, is technically even Elsie might still be alive.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, how so? Tell, okay.
I mean, could be.
Could be.
Let's preface this. We're going to move on to the Bernard Ford and that final meeting where he's getting his recall of
right.
His
so back to Bernard.
Yes.
Yeah, back to the Bernard storyline.
I mean, he has a memory of it. So Bernard has a memory of doing it. Ford first had said, no, I didn't make you kill anybody else. But then he said something of like, well, we've had to clean up some stuff, essentially. But we see her struggling, but we didn't see the final, like, dead face or something.
We don't see a body still. We see a struggle.
Maybe. No body, no proof. Because at least with Teresa, we totally saw her head hit the wall and then, like, on the ground dead.
Right.
It was confirmed.
But I think we did see in this that Ford did send Bernard to go kill Elsie. I wasn't very sure about that in the last episode.
Well, only because his line saying, like, we had to tie up loose ends kind of a thing. So I feel Ford did send Bernard to go do that. But I think maybe there was a way that Bernard superseded his programming and didn't finish killing her.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe. Or someone showed up and she was able to get out of it. Maybe.
That's
These are all big maybes, guys.
No, but this is well said, actually, because Dr. Ford spoke about it. Because Arnold asked, how is it that hosts can supersede their, I forget the term.
It's their cornerstone.
Their cornerstone, thank you. So you're just saying it right there.
Maybe.
That's something possible.
With Elsie, because he maybe had a different connection to her or something that was able to...
We also said, and this is getting into predictions.
Though he should have been able to break free from killing Teresa, though, but still.
Right.
But Ford wasn't present when Elsie was being strangled, though, too.
Yes.
So that's a big difference.
Well, he could have sent Bernard to do it.
Yes. Oh, no, I don't doubt. I think Ford sent Bernard to go get rid of Elsie.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he completed his mission.
Right. We do also have, we can't forget also that we have Stubbs looking for Elsie. This was very quick, and in a sea of different things that are happening, I think it's easy to forget about. But they found some sort of tracker went off that Elsie is going to be in a certain position.
Yes.
So Stubbs goes and tries to find Elsie, instead encounters a lot of the Ghost Nation.
Somebody pointed out maybe they're not quite in a loop the same way.
Right. Well,
they did not respond to verbal commands.
Well, also keep in mind that the people that are real religious fanatics, the religion that comes out of all these hosts usually has something to do with the real world. That's why we see the First Nations, but the Ghost Nation having the dolls that look like all the science guys.
Okay.
So they have more of a connection about what's going on outside of
so that way they're able to ignore what's going on a little bit?
Well, by recognizing and by relating to the memories, and also to realize that maybe what's going on is part of a game, I think they're able to surpass the game, or surpass the programming at least, because they're able to recognize the programming. So where we ended up with Stubbs at this episode is the Ghost Nations, come up, tackle him. It ended a lot the same way Elsie's ended up.
Yes.
It's very familiar.
Someone in the chat made a quick comment. Oh, I lost. I can't see it. But it was, Windmill 360 said, Elsie, freeze motor functions, Bernard. Like, in quotes, like she was able to give a verbal command to stop him.
We have yet to see that.
We don't know. That's a really good theory. I like that.
I mean, one possibility is that they're kind of, trying to get people to safety by just grabbing them and taking them to safety. Maybe it's Bernard and
or Charlotte came in and rescued Elsie. I doubt it.
Charlotte's gone.
Oh, I don't think she cares. No.
So let's finish up, button up this whole episode with the simultaneous reveal of Bernard and Ford and Dolores going to the church.
Right. So let's talk about Dolores going to the church.
Yes.
Let's walk through all the costume changes of and Dolores wounds. Going through the church.
Even leaving I would say also including leaving the camp with William.
Yes. Okay.
That's it should be part of it as well.
So keep in mind, yes. What is
I was just gonna say, I was gonna walk with you. We're all walking together through this.
Yeah, I'm about to rant. So let's here it goes.
All right.
So shut me up whenever you want and add into this. But this is what happens with Dolores. She is wounded. She leaves the camp, and then she looks down and she's healed. She's still in pants. She's still in a shirt.
Shirt's tucked back in.
Shirt's tucked back in, and she's healed. She keeps walking to the town with the...
Alpha Town.
Yeah, the Alpha Town. Westworld 1.0.
Yes.
But Alpha Town. And when she gets there, she's back in the dress. So she's in the memory of her back when... we know for sure. Back during Westworld 1.0.
Yes.
And walking through when she's in the dress, that's what's happening during that time. That's the time frame or time zone that we're actually in.
And she sees the other people in the church going crazy.
Yes, they're going crazy because
including, what's her name?
Angela.
Angela, thank you.
They're talking to their the mind that's, what is it?
Bicameral mind. They're talking to themselves,
Yeah, and this is, I'm assuming this is Arnold trying to find sentience. Okay. She goes into
confessional booth.
The confessional booth. It goes down, and when it opens up, costume change again. She's back to pants tucked in.
Yep.
Okay.
And regular clothes, and walks down the hall, and then it changes again.
Wait, were there bodies at this point?
There were bodies.
Okay.
There were bodies all over the place. Then it changes again, and she's in a blue dress.
No bodies.
No bodies. Yep. And she walks down to the interview room.
Yep.
That she's had the interview with Bernard in, and she sits down. The reveal that Bernard is Arnold, and she has the conversation with Arnold, where Arnold says, I want you to remember who you are, what I am.
Yep.
And basically, she says, you're dead, I killed you.
Yes.
Okay. So, this is what...
And then she went back to she's in the suit, and the chair has dust and a spider web.
Oh, I didn't notice that. But she's back in the suit, the chair has dust and a spider web. Yes. She goes up back up.
Yep.
And Man in Black.
Yes.
Okay.
And she's in the same clothes.
She's still in the same clothes. This is my theory. This is what I think is going on there. I think when she's in the pants, not injured, shirt tucked in, it's present day. I think that's present day, which means which explains actually a big loose end I thought in like episode whatever. Because at one point you hear Stubbs go, we have one character who's going on a tangent. We don't know if they're with a we don't know if they're with a host or not. Let's go check. And then it cuts to William and William time frame, and it's where someone comes up to Dolores and takes her away. But I think that could be Stubbs time, and Stubbs time is present time, which means she's just walking through her past. She's walking through her memories to get to where she needs to be, which is the buried church, which gets unburied by Ford, because we know
when he was doing the digging.
Yes, in the present, that I think it's Charlotte said that he undug a town that was just buried there. So I think he's dug out the town. Yep. The town is now there. That's how she's able to go in, go down, have these memories, reenact these memories, come back up, meet the Man in Black. So I think what happens there is in the past when she's injured. I think she's probably fallen down there, but that's when the present takes over. So I think that's what's happening with the time frame.
So if she's injured, she's in William's timeline, and when she's well, she's Men in Black's timeline.
And when she's in the blue dress,
she's in live Arnold time.
Yes, and she's just walking through memories because when she has memories, that's when she's able to reenact them.
You know what? Windmill 360 agrees. They're all yes. That's what I think too. So that is a Dave rant. We should have more of these.
Well, somebody also though chimed in. Xavier Lee, can't present day still be William's timeline?
I don't think so. I think that's what we're finding out in this episode. I think that's what's going to be a reveal in the next episode. Is that I think William's timeline is when she was injured.
Okay.
And
which is
I think
the
this
past.
shows this. Yeah, I think it showed that. I think in this episode we see the fact that when she meets Man in Black, she's not injured, and when she left William, she was injured. Shows they're in different timelines.
So didn't we also talk about that Dolores was the key to the fiasco 30 years ago?
Yes. And I think she definitely
is. And is she then the one who killed everybody in that hallway? Maybe.
I think it might have. Started off everyone going insane because they're also hearing voices in their head and trying to find their sentience.
That was going to be my question. What
do you think that many people got downstairs though to kill them?
Wait, what do you mean?
Okay, there were employees downstairs too.
I think that was the Delos of Westworld 1.0.
Yeah, but who do you think killed them? Because then it's possibly Dolores, because she mentions that she killed Arnold. So she could have been killing people along the way.
I think she killed a lot of people, but I think other people killed a lot of people too.
Okay.
I've got a question here from our host who's in Chicago, Ms. Joy Monique. She said, did Ford bring back Arnold because he felt guilty, because he didn't have heart, or because he needed his brain to finish?
Needed his brain to finish.
I think so too. And also I think we got to remember, I think Ford's a psychopath. And I think he found that he couldn't work without someone who wasn't a psychopath. Who
needed some heart.
He needed someone with heart, and he needed someone who had feelings in order to reenact people appropriately, because he doesn't understand emotions. Yeah. I think that is psychology. Another thing to keep in mind too is Teddy has a flashback where he's shooting people.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the one I had the question. That was my biggest question of tonight's episode. Yes. I still do not know who Teddy is. Is he Wyatt? Who is he? He becomes this deputy / sheriff in
Escalante.
In Escalante. Yes.
I think Escalante is the same town. It looked a lot like the same town.
Oh, it looked just like the same town, yeah.
It looked like the same town as Dancy Town, Alpha Town.
Ooh, what if Teddy and Dolores were on a killing spree?
I think Teddy...
Because they have a weird connection to each other.
Yeah, I think everyone was on a killing spree. I think a lot of people were on a killing spree. But I think that was the same incident that happened.
Okay.
I think he was remembering the same incident. And he could be Wyatt, but as I was saying before, I almost don't care if he's Wyatt or not. I think maybe Wyatt could be made up, or someone could be a different Wyatt every single time.
Didn't Ford's like, we're gonna give you a backstory, and essentially made Wyatt up in a way?
Right.
Yeah, but
so they'll never find him.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that because, and Metal Monkey's saying the same thing. He says that Teddy is Wyatt. Tonight, Angela said something that he wasn't ready, and soon enough that Wyatt would join him. He wasn't ready. So kind of like, just like how every host is in a loop and they have to keep dying to understand and get those memories to move on to their next lifetime, for Teddy to finally understand that I am him and to make peace with that and to become one with Teddy being Wyatt.
Yeah.
That's what I got out of it.
Yeah,
so.
Teddy could, maybe in the next life, Teddy will be Wyatt. Something we also, I feel like, just to get some loose ends that we haven't talked about yet, a big reveal was also the picture that Logan holds up and shows William. Because that was a picture of supposedly William's fiance and Logan's sister. It's also the same picture the father picks up and starts off the whole thing.
Yep.
Remember when the father picks up
Peter
Dolores'
Abernathy's
father
picture? Yeah.
Picks up a picture and says, "This doesn't look," or it doesn't say, "This doesn't look like anything for me," and starts to have an existential crisis over it. That's the same picture that Logan shows William.
Okay.
Now, what does that mean?
You know, thank you for the tease, Dave, because I also want to let AfterBuzzers know that maybe next week we might get answers about that pictures because we will have Lewis Hertham, who plays the original Peter Abernathy, in studio for our finale. So please join us next week. It's going to be a huge episode with surprises, so please. And Joel hopefully will be back as well, so join us next Sunday as well.
We finally took him out of cold storage.
We did.
And he's coming right to AfterBuzz.
I didn't even realize it was the same. I mean, it totally makes sense, but I thought... For some reason, I thought that photo had a lot more green in the background, and then I thought the photo that the father looked at looked like like Times Square.
Well,
So
no,
it's
I think they were the
different colors.
same. They were the same picture, but one could have been faded because of time.
Maybe I remember the one that Dad picked up looked kind of like a girl in Times Square, and then this one didn't. I didn't register it the same way, but
okay, it looked the same to me.
I think that's a really cool pic. Well, see, there you go. Like in watching this and talking to people, it's like, didn't you notice this thing? And then it's like,
see, we could talk about this for hours.
Anything to me.
yeah.
Does it, what did you say?
It didn't really look like anything to me.
Oh, well, that's because you're a host, buddy. Sorry.
We're already kind of getting the hook, guys, so we got to start wrapping this sucker up because let's move on to some predictions. Because next week we're going to have
AfterBuzz TV prediction.
a huge episode. Even though this whole episode...
Finale. What?
Okay, I'm going to read some of the things that we see in the week, next week for the finale.
Okay, guys, these were at the end of the episode, so this is not spoilers. If you just didn't watch that, these are predictions based on what we saw. Because somebody I know was like, "Hey, wait a minute." I'm like, "Okay, they're on the end of the episode."
Yeah, so if you need to tune out, go ahead and we will see you next week for sure. But for those who want to stick around, we see Ford talking about his new narrative, of course.
Yes, and that's part of the celebration. Yes, because a couple people are like, "Wait, what about the celebration?"
Yeah, that's right.
So it's to celebrate the new narrative. I think that's what it is.
He said,
What do you mean by celebration?
Ford said something about a celebration
at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Tonight's episode, he
And
had a celebration.
a lot of people
tattoo.
in chat are like, the celebration. I think that's revealing the new narrative is the celebration.
Right.
And we're about to make Carrie's day because then on another scene we see Maeve in cold storage.
Yeah.
Yes, and it seems like she has a lot of the cold storage people behind her moving around.
Yes.
So that's important. And she's someone who wants an army. And she also walks into the room Bernard shot himself in.
Yes, which we didn't even get the chance
and
to talk about.
we saw Clementine, because we had thought maybe, we're like, wait, no body, no proof. Maybe Bernard's not dead. But if you watch it with subtitles, it says shot and body thuds. And at first, JC, I like that. You're like, wait, maybe it's Clementine. And then she's on the preview for next week. So then I'm like, oh.
Oh, no. I think he definitely shot himself in the head. I do not think that means he's dead because he's a host. I think
This is, yeah, absolutely. You can come back. But the question is, how reset is he in this dying? Like, does he have to take a long time to get back caught up on everything? Or is he like, pause button and I'm back?
Well, yeah, my guess is that it's actually going to be Maeve that brings him back from the dead.
Oh, that'd be nice.
And add him to her army, which is a very powerful person.
Oh, I like that.
To have Arnold 2.0 as your...
You can kind of see that happening, though. I can feel that happening.
Right.
But now we got to wrap. We've also got the big showdown between Man in Black and Dolores. And we see a few cuts of that, and where I even see Dolores dragging Man in Black.
I think for sure we're going to find out what's up with Man in Black. What's his name? What if he maybe did, if he didn't do, if he was nice to Dolores in that barn, we're gonna find out. If he wasn't nice to Dolores in barn, we're not gonna find out. But that's what I think we're gonna happen next week.
I will leave you guys with the last image, which is Dolores pointing a gun at herself, and we have a VO of saying violent delights have violent ends.
Also, remember she has that buried gun from the very first episode. What does that mean? It probably is able to kill humans. What does that mean? Okay, keep that in mind.
All right, guys, send us all your predictions.
So much.
We got to go. This is the penultimate episode. Thank you for sticking around with us because we literally just watched and try to break this down. I'm going to go home and watch it 4 more times, of course. So, Kari, where can they find you?
It takes so much for your brain to digest all of this. Yes, you guys can find me online at Kari D. Lane. That's KARIDLANE. And I want to give a shout out to Neith's Jewelry. I'm wearing this awesome necklace, and you can see cool photos of that on my Instagram.
Cool. And you can find me at MRDaveChild. And also keep in mind, if we missed anything, let us know. And please rate us 5 stars.
Yes.
And give us some good reviews. We need that stuff to pass it on. And I'm super excited for next week.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We definitely need those reviews on iTunes especially. And of course, make sure to catch Kari and Joel on the premiere of Incorporated later this week as well.
Starting Wednesday.
Yes, and for Neil, the Bicameral Mind, where can they find you, bud?
You guys can find me everywhere at the Neil Plumley. That's TheNeilPlumley.
Excellent. And Joel, hopefully we'll have you back next week. And you can follow me at JC Rubio TV all across the board. So for Neil, Joel, Dave, Kari, I'm JC, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz
you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.